Gotcha.
And make sure we're live on my page here. Yep, and we are live. All right, so let me close this out. So, what's going on, Brother Jackson? How you doing, man?
Hey, can't complain. How about yourself?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Well, first of all, before we jump into this interview, I want to say congratulations, man. Big deal.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
And I say this being a military brat, not being a serviceman or woman, but when I say this, I don't say this lightly, but we appreciate your service. And I know you're over on a tour right now.
Yes, sir.
And what country are you in right now?
I'm in Bahrain.
In Bahrain. And it's about what, 5 or 6 o'clock over there right now?
Yep, after 6 p.m.
Wow, yes, so you're one of our many servicemen and women who've, decided to look at UIGI for whatever reason and have been just knocking this thing out the park, making so much money for them and their family, man. So congratulations, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, this is cool, man. So let's go ahead and dive in, man. So let the folks know who you are, where you're from, married, kids, what you do for a living, so folks, because what's going to happen, people are going to reach out to you and they're going to want to join with you. And so it's always a good way of letting them know who you are prior to them reaching out to you.
Right. Of course, I'm a young man, 30 years old, originally from South Carolina. I'm active duty in the Navy, currently stationed in Washington State. Of course, I'm overseas right now. I'm married, one daughter, and, pretty much just enjoying military, enjoying life and enjoying, man, these investment, opportunities.
Wonderful. So, and I asked this question earlier, but I'd love to hear this. So how did you find out about UIGI and when did you join us?
So I joined back in about December, this past December, after coming from another tour. Got back to the States and I was in quarantine. Matter of fact, we have the mandatory quarantine once we get back. So I was in quarantine and a friend of mine on Facebook, posted about learning the basics about, crypto. And I, avoided it for a while, for months, I would hear about it. But this time I was like, well, I'm bored, I'm sitting in the house. I might as well, see if I can learn a little something. So, we got on the video call, he broke down some basics to me. And then he sent me the link to the promo page. So he's like, look on there, check out a couple of videos, let me know what you think. So got on there, looked at some videos, man, and, I went down the rabbit hole. And since then I've been, on it.
Wow. Now, while you've been new to crypto, you're not new to investing. Right. I understand you play in the stock market, you do your thing there.
Right, yeah. So I do stock market, mutual funds, ETFs, annuities, things of the sort, so just different self-taught, but, found, some different information, different sites, videos, just to learn, how to read charts and things. So it's pretty interesting, the stock market, but it's totally different, from cryptocurrency, totally different.
Wow. And it's so good for me to hear that, being 18 years your senior, okay, I'm 48, man, if I knew what you knew when I was 30, I'd be dangerous, bro.
I hear that quite often.
It's such a joy and pleasure, a heartwarm pleasure to hear, a younger man, and 30 is not, it's still young. It's still young. Hell, right. 90 is the new 60, right?
I'm about to say, yeah.
Yeah, so it's good to hear that, man. That's amazing. That's amazing. And so, you say you looked around for a while. I hear a lot of people who are in the stock markets and things of that nature, and I dibbled and dabbled here and there, but not a pro by no stretch of imagination. Right. But some people are reluctant to look at crypto. And it sounds like you seem open, but it sounds like you have some hesitancy. Why was that?
Mainly probably because of the volatility, how much it shifts and changes. It's still kind of new. So even when you're looking at longevity charts, 5 years, ago for this crypto coin and this token, some of them hadn't been around that long. So, it's kind of hard to pinpoint patterns of when they're rising, when they're falling. You can kind of play the stock market game a little bit if you know how to read charts and read, the history of how this company has done over time during this time of the year, during this season, so, but crypto is it varies a lot.
The moving target.
Right. Yeah. So it's a little harder to pinpoint, but I like a challenge. So I was like, hey, let's give it a try and see how it goes. And it's been going pretty good.
Man, it's been going real well, And for those who are watching, Brother Kevin Jackson is one of the newest, Millionaire Circle earners, Millionaire Circle ring earners with UIGI, and that's a big deal. You don't qualify for this level unless you are making money for you and your family. And right. The interesting thing about this crypto space, as you saying, being so new, we found a way to keep it from being volatile.
Right.
With our programs and things of that nature, which is a little bit more safe than people just hedging their bets on a coin or so,
Right. I agree.
Now, so I always ask this question. Mm-hmm. This is always my best question. What's your favorite phase out of all the phases that we have?
And I'm thinking like I haven't seen other videos. You asked the same question. Right now, I'll probably say Ether Connect is probably a strong one for me right now. I'm really liking Ether Connect, even though Omega is coming up, fast on it for me. I think it's starting to try to overtake it. It's got some great potential, So Ether Connect is probably the one. But I mean, you ask me 2 months, 3 months from now, hopefully I'll be able to say Walmart store. So
Exactly. My best friend, he's a state trooper. He just got his Walmart store yesterday. He's going through the process of getting it rocking and rolling. Them Walmart stores are turning 37% a month on our money. That's sick.
Exactly. That's all I need to see.
But I'm gonna give me a couple.
I know, that's what I'm saying here. It's already in the plan. I got to get a couple of.
Man, this is cool. Okay, so Ether Connect and Ether Connect is fire right now. It's growing, especially with these EIFI coin and stuff. That thing hit $108 the other day. I know I bought when I was 16 cents.
Yeah, I got in 18.
18 cents. See, there we go. I missed 10 cents. It's all good.
I fell asleep and I woke up, and because the time difference. And when I got up, I was like, oh man. So
yeah, this is crazy. Now, for those who are watching from home, again, this is Brother Kevin Jackson, one of the newest ring earners with UIGI, and we got to say this to everybody at home. We are not investors. We don't have licenses or anything like that. We're not financial planners. We don't teach and train people on annuities or anything like that. We just pass information to one another like you would pass information if you were hanging out at Top Golf or the barbershop or cookout. That's it. And we keep it consistent with that. So I know you hear folks talk about the 1/3 rule. I'm an avid of the 1/3 rule, and I always ask people, and I always get different answers. Some people like, I'm doing a 50-50 rule, the 70-30 rule. How are you playing it?
Well, mine is a situation as far as like I don't really have debt. So of course, the 1/3, I have that extra third.
Good.
So of course, the last 1/3 is like taxes, half, fun. The fun part, it'll come, it's kind of hard to do it on like deployments.
Right.
So, I just, so lately what I've been doing is I've been, I still put aside, for taxes, but I've been reinvesting more. So I would take, some of that fun and some of that would be for debt. And I've been putting more into my investments, So eventually when I get back stateside, I'll probably take that 1/3 for debt and just split it down the middle, invest a little more for fun. I don't know how much more I'm putting up for taxes, but a little more for fun and invest a little more.
Hey, we got to pay Uncle Sam so y'all can get paid, man.
Exactly. You're right.
Our military budget is serious.
Exactly. It's a big thing.
Oh man, this is good, man. So you got started about December, making some cash, man. Now with you, hopefully and prayerfully, I don't know how the deployment go, or maybe as far as leave is concerned. We're doing the Ring Earner event in October, so if you can't make it, it's coming to you first class mail.
Yeah, it'll have to be mailed. I'll be in a training up in Rhode Island for about 13 weeks. For a big promotion I got picked up for, so I'll be locked away from society, for a couple months, and then I come out, and my ring, I'm sure, will be waiting on me at the house. So
it is. Your wife is going to be wearing it before you get home.
Yeah, she told me, she like, I won't open it if you don't want me to. So I told her I'm still thinking about it.
Oh man, that's cool, man. This is cool. So here's a question. I always ask this question. If I'm brand new and I don't know how, maybe I found UIGI from Facebook or an advertisement, maybe somebody added me to the group. What would you tell me as a brand new person?
Brand new. I would say, first of all, if you got sent, of course, promo page, depending on the ads, if you receive the promo page, look at the promo page. If you haven't, you came across it, from Facebook or Instagram ad, you join the group. First thing I would do is, read first, what you see. Everybody's putting up their testimonials. They're showing, the progress that the different phases are making for them personally, the money they're making for their families. Read up on it. First of all, see if it's something that really interests you. Everybody's interested in making money. If some people are just more skeptical than others. They don't know, if this gonna work. I work too hard for my money, so I can't just put it here, and then so, read up on certain things, look at certain videos. If it speaks to you, reach out to a moderator, get their link to their promo page. And then from the promo page, just look at a couple of videos. For me, I'm more of a visual and a hands-on learner. So, I can look at a couple of videos, and then once I look, I want to get my hands dirty and start, figuring it out for myself. So, research is my biggest thing. The research will tell you pretty much everything you want to know. If you have questions about what you've researched, reach out to somebody. But your effort will tell you, whether or not you're serious about investing. And if you're serious, you're going to make money.
Love it. I love that. That's a great answer. That's a great answer. You talked about the testimonies, man. I love seeing the testimonies in the group, man. They light me up. I mean, and you hear from people like when I came, I had no money. I started with my last dime, and now I'm getting $20,000. It's crazy, man.
Right. And that's how, when I came in, I wasn't coming in with a lot of money myself, and the phase that I was hearing a lot about, actually, as soon as I came in, it was going away.
The raggedy one.
Right, yeah. So that was the one I came in. So, I was like, well, doggone it. I just came in for that, so I'm good, but I was like, well, let me look. So I saw like Cash FX is another one. So I was like, okay, I put something in Cash FX. Didn't have much, but I was like, I start with one of the lower tiers just to see how it's working. Started making money from that. And then this thing called Daisy. Everybody started talking about that, so I was like, well, I got to get on this equity crowdfunding. I got to get on something like this, something for the future. So you don't need a lot of money. You just plant little seeds here, little seeds there, over time, they will grow. And once your money come in, you start making it, put a little more. So, a lot of people think they got to be rich to put in money. No, you just got to start. Yeah, you just got to start.
Man, I started with $400. I started with $400 on May 28th, 2020.
Man.
Yeah.
Man.
I can't even say it. Whoa, bro, what? That's why, there's not a day that goes by that, I'm not prayerful and thankful. I know you and I was just talking prior to jumping on, being grateful. Sometimes it's crazy looking at money sitting in the bank, not collecting no real interest, right?
Right.
We gotta be grateful. Little tiny dividends, right?
Right.
And it's crazy, right? Someone, and I love real estate and everything, but someone recently reached out to me from my hometown, from North New Jersey, and they said, yo, bro, we got a real estate project on the table where you can make 8 to 10% of your money. And I'm like, okay, sound good. I said, how long will it take? And they're like, well, the deal's probably going to take about a good year, and they're going to tie up my money for a year. Back in the day, before this crypto space, blah. Yeah. I'm like, all right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, now we'll do that in a week or a month.
Right. Yeah, I've had like for the military, they have pretty much if you deploy like what they call a savings deposit program, which is pretty much the same thing. You get 10% pretty much on a year. And that was good. I did it like one of my first deployments. Like, okay, it's like this is pretty good. But now it's like they don't want to tie my money up, for a whole year when I can make this, in a month or less. It's kind of the decision kind of is like, all right, well, I did it, been there, done that. It's time for something different. And, I'm happy where I'm at.
And this thing's amazing, man. It's a joy and pleasure to see so much success for folks. Have you ever dabbled and dabbled in network marketing in the past?
I haven't. I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Like I said, I'm a little younger, so I've seen my parents like go to those meetings, So, they would drag us with them sometime, and they'll, show them different floor rooms, like if they were selling like knife sets, things like that, or these different internet cable packages and things of the sort, so they would look into things of the sort. But when I got older, I had the opportunity once, and I think I was like a sophomore in college. And a guy I knew was like, hey, man, come check this meeting out. And it was something along the same as those cable packages and things. But I was like, man, I got so much on my plate. I didn't have time to really, dedicate to it. But yeah, this is my first actual time. It's somewhere similar to that realm,
Right. Right. The difference with us is, it's funny, man, that you said the meetings. My kids are 13 and 18 years old. And from the time they were born until last year, till a year and a half ago, they seen daddy go to a meeting every Tuesday and Saturday for literally 16, well, longer than I've been doing it for 21 years. And so they'll have those stories, because right now they're dibbling dabbling in crypto and they're making a ton of money. But they'll have those stories later on, just like you. This is crazy, man. This is cool. This is
exactly.
Cool. So the fact that you don't have the network marketing experience, I'm sure you're referring people to the platforms, though.
Yeah, and it started with, because I'm not the biggest, I guess, talker, as you would say, as far as like just getting other people and bringing them in. But for me, it started just the excitement I had for it at work. And, I would be on my phone, checking stuff all the time. And coworkers like, man, what are you doing? And then that's kind of like how it started the conversation. So once I told, one of them, and they started making a little money, then, we started telling another one, and it's kind of like started spreading a little bit like that. So, I was like, well, I can't have just my coworkers, making extra money. I might as well tell my family, and friends too. So, so I'm slowly but surely, I'm just showing people the results I'm getting. And, and that's pretty much what's bringing them on in.
It's great to hear that answer, because there's some seasoned networkers who've been in that game for 20, 30 years. They're listening, they're watching this right now. And their approach, and I'm guilty of this in the past, their approach is, hey, check this out, check this out, check this out. Where your approach was, people saw you. They were asking you what's going on, and through that approach, people more open to taking a look. Then sometimes we're the seasoned networkers, we're trying to ram it down people's head with all these quotes and all these things. It's crazy, so it's cool to hear, a different flow, a different vibe of how people are getting people connected. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. All right, so I try to keep these to a half an hour. So here's the magic question. What tip would you give somebody that's already part of the group, okay? And or somebody who's already part of the group, and what tip would you give that person? Because obviously you're knocking out the park, you got a lot of good things going on for you, you're getting proud of you, bro, big time. But what tip do you give some folks who are in the group?
Diversify is a big one for me. Only because of, like, I haven't been in it long, but I've already had, those little losses from not diversifying. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So, diversify. Spread your money around. Like I said, don't put everything in this one area. And in a lot of areas, even areas you're not really familiar with, that you don't know how this platform, how this opportunity is growing, still put a little bit in there, and while you're learning, while you're gathering information, you're still making money. So, it's making it for you. You ain't got to do no work for it. You're sitting back and it's doing all the work for you. So, diversify, and also know your stuff as far as continue to learn, continue to do research, continue to watch videos, continue to practice, so certain things, little mistakes or little decisions can be, it can be fixed just by reading, just by researching, and there's a lot of information out there. We got great moderators, and they're pretty knowledgeable. So I've had to reach out to some before myself. And they have great information. They can give you good insight, and they know what they're doing. So research, man, and diversify.
I love it, man. That's the magic words, research and diversify. That's phenomenal. Right. Yo, bro, it's been a pleasure, man. For those who are watching, Kevin Jackson is one of our newest Millionaire Circle ring earners with UIGI, knocking the ball out the park. Reach out to him. For my international brothers and sisters, right now, where sometimes you guys reach out to folks here on the East Coast or the West Coast or the Central United States, when y'all are asleep, well, you can reach out to Kevin right now. He'll hold that whole side of the world down. So inbox, find him on Instagram, reach out to his Facebook page. You know, he's a different time frame. So all my international brothers and sisters, I know y'all reach out to me all the time, and you might catch me 3 o'clock in the morning. Me or my sister won't get back to you. But this brother's on a different time zone. So just like my man Big Sam in Norway, reach out to them. You know, let them know that you're interested. Inbox them. They can help you grow your money. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yo, man, congratulations again. Thanks for being available.
Thank you, sir. No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, you be safe over there. We'll see you when you get back stateside.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
All right, bro. Peace.
All right, take it easy. Yes, sir.